Today, we will only be drafting players from teams with green in there. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But happy St. Patty's Day. We are going to draft a couple of big board teams, but this isn't a randomizer. We're trying to win $250,000 in the big board contest. I'm Pete Overzet. This is Best Ball Breakfast. Let's get to it. It really isn't that hard, guys. You just go top two, win it, win it. Okay, I think we can be done here at running back. You only have 3 running backs. This roster is littered with game theory, arbitrage, exploits, and theoretic reasoning. Bro, light mode, my eyes, dude. I don't know. I prefer that move more in a time box contest. Bro, have you ever scrolled so far down that like there's no more names, bro? Don't do drugs, kids. Draft and drive instead. You can't have it both ways, dude. Quid pro quo. All right, GMs. Happy St. Patty's Day. We are already off to the races. Hopped in a big board draft. Let those of you in the Discord know when I entered. And it looks like we got this bad boy filled. And like I keep saying, I'm pretty sure I said this. I've only done, I think this is my 9th big board draft live stream. I've had so many early draft slots. I don't even know what it's like to select Amon-Ra St. Brown or Malik Neighbors or Ashton Jeanty. I don't even know what it's like because I just keep getting 102 and I'm getting bored. It's the worst spot. Maybe this drafter is the Tuck rule. Maybe he'll let me get Jamar Chase. Probably not after he just got paid. But yeah, we'll figure it out. GMs. Casey wants the coffee pour early. All right. I normally like to just ease into the coffee pour. I do have it here ready to go. Give me a second. We got Dane in here at 4. What's up, Josh? Aaron's excited about all of the additions to the Seahawks offense as safeties against Seattle going to be playing 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. Wow, that's disrespectful to JSN, I have to say there. Flip the board. I kind of like it, Mark. I think I might do it. Let's see what Tuck Roll does here at 1, and then we can decide if we want to get crazy. They do go Jamar Chase. Should we flip the board? Let's flip the board. I have not gotten to select Nico Collins a lot. Let's grab Nico Collins. We'll just have some fun here. Let's have a little fun. Flip the board, getting wild on a Monday. Pete just reached for Nico Collins at 2. Please don't go tagging Numi on Twitter. Dude, he just took Nico at 2. Toss it. Toss the draft, man. I'm not going to waste my time. What's up? Cross Country says he is in the 7th hole. Did you run cross country? Do you coach cross country? What's the origins of that name? I'm curious. Big Sunny says the dog bowl short you posted looked amazing. Yeah, I just posted that on Twitter and I think TikTok as well. I'm going to post it on Twitter/X after this stream. But yeah, I had a little highlight video there from the festivities at the dog bowl. Need some foreplay before the pour. That's my exact thoughts. Chris wanted me to take Bowers there. Certainly, I don't think would be crazy. Adam's on board with the Nico pick. Steven thinks I'm such an influencer that Nico will start going at 2. I do not think so. But I'm flattered, Steven, that you think I could have that kind of sway on the market with one random impulse. Brady Sanders wanted me to take Jalen Coker so I could have an out as a cokehead. Yes. That would be undisputable. I think I would win the crown as president of the Jalen Coker Club if I took him at 102. I agree with this. Nick says, I genuinely think every first-round wide receiver can go out 102 and be fine. Yeah, I think I pretty much fully agree with that sentiment as far as it being a pretty flat tier with Jefferson, CD, Puka. I think for me, there's a tier break after those guys to like Thomas Neighbors. I think Amon-Ra, kind of a floater in there. But yes, I agree with that overall sentiment. Does Bowers usually go first round? No, he doesn't. He's been like an early 2nd round pick, mid-2nd round pick. I know in the leg up ranks, and we got ship chasers in here, roto-visors, that cohort of the best ball internet really likes Brock Bowers. So you'll see him go, 1-2 turn if one of those drafters is picking there. But, his ADP is 16.3. So more like 3-4 picks into the 2nd round there. What's up, TCD? Benny says, are wide receivers back? They never left, brother. They never left. We had the running back reckoning last year, and the wide receivers are still going fast and furious. Yes, I'm excited about this as well. I have not updated it yet. That's on my to-do list. Paul's referencing the new Draft Caddy update has combo ownership, and I should have done that before I went live. And now I feel like an idiot having not done that, because I was really excited to start to look at some of that combo data for the draft. So thank you for that. Maybe I can multitask as we're doing the stream and get that in the mix. But for now, we are going to draft. Let's see. Should we do? We've been doing a lot of Trey McBride here. You know what? We're talking JSN. We're talking Seahawks here. I want to do a little JSN here. Let's do some JSN. We start Nico JSN. Just have a good time. And if someone takes Trey McBride from me, I'll grab a running back. I'll do the unthinkable and grab a running back. Nick P, I hate to let you down. Nick says, any plan of maxing with slow drafts? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. 2 years ago, I did that. I think there's a short on this channel. I am going to select, by the way, Trey McBride here in the early third round. So we start Nico Collins, JSN, Trey McBride. 2 years ago, I streamed, I don't know, like 20 or 30 big board drafts. And then at the last second, I got FOMO for maxing, and I maxed via slows. And I was in the epitome of slow draft hell. Because for me, if you trickle out the slow drafts over a longer period of time, you have a batch of 10 here, a batch of 10 here. That's kind of what I did at the end of Best Ball Summer last year. It's not too bad. It's manageable. But when you do a blitz of, I think it was like 80 slow drafts at once, and they're all happening concurrently, and there's basically a point in your life that you're never not on the clock. Yeah, that was the death of me. There was a video about being in slow draft hell. So I am not going to get big board maxing FOMO. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I got it in the same way that we have to have a little foreplay before the coffee pour. I need a little foreplay before I start blasting off. It's a long summer, guys. It's a long summer. The contests are going to be popping after the NFL draft. So I'm treating this like a marathon. All right. Treating it like a marathon. Can't blow my load here in the first month of action. But with that being said, it is time for the coffee pour, for KZ, for the coffee heads, for the Coke heads. This one goes out to you. Let me get the draft board back up here so we can watch the action unfold. Mathology asking, how was the weekend? It was great. It was low key. It was nice to have kind of a weekend settling back into our routine after traveling the week before. I mentioned it in the P.O. Box newsletter that went out on Saturday morning that recovering from the time difference of being in San Diego for a week was rough. It was the 3-hour difference, obviously, that you get acclimated to over the course of a week. And then we had daylight saving time on top of that. So essentially like a 4-hour swing. And it legit took me a full week to get completely back on my normal schedule. This was the first morning I was able to get up early again, not feel like I had just gotten hit by a dump truck. But it was good. And it's nice here finally. You know, it's been, high 50s, low 60s. So we get outside, got to go to the park a few times, which we hadn't done in forever. Had a nice dinner last night, got takeout at our favorite Greek place. So yes, the weekend was good. And as much as I love traveling, God, I love being back in a normal routine. So yes, thank you for asking. And man, this draft is ripping. We are back on the clock here. Looks like we got our option. I think we grab a running back here. The drafter behind us has 3 wide receivers. They started Chase, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore. I think let's grab some Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton definitely getting some first round draft capital buzz. There's obviously some nutted landing spots for him. I've heard some conversation, even if he ended up, to the Bears at the beginning of the second round, that would be a pretty good landing spot. So if he's getting back in round 1 draft capital, early round 2 to a good spot, I think this 4-5 turn price is going to age pretty nicely. And if he's a first round pick, he's probably going to be more of a 3 to 4 turn pick. So maybe not getting massive value, but at least, a round of value depending on how things shake out here. So we could grab another wide receiver. I think we did Rashee Rice last time. We could do Chris Olave. Let's mix it up. Let's balance our range. I think last time in this spot we did Rashee Rice. Let's go ahead and grab Chris Olave this time. So through 5 rounds, we got 1 running back, Omarion Hampton. We got our 3 wide receivers, Nico Collins, JSN, and Chris Olave. And I don't have to deal with the aren't you worried bros about Rashee Rice. Although I believe the latest is his rehab is going better than expected. And then tight end Trey McBride, because we got to play the hits. This is just what it's going to be. I'm a diversify bro. I like to spread out my exposures. But when it comes to Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, if I have the option to select them at a reasonable cost, I'm just going to do it every time. Maybe my thought on that changes as the offseason progresses. But as of right now, if you give me Trey McBride or Brock Bowers around cost, they're mine. That's just what it's going to be. All right, should I get a banner up? Should we get a banner? Big board draft. For those who didn't know, we're in a big board draft. Underdog's flagship pre-draft best ball contest, $10 entry, 150 max. I'm not getting there. If I had 150 entries, I'd win too, but I'm not going to get there. $250,000 up top though. George became a new YouTube member. Welcome, George. That'll get you access to the DFS After Dark shows on the weekends. Been doing those either on Friday or Saturday evenings. This past weekend on Saturday, I had The Wood on. If you guys hang out in the Deposit Kingdom or you play a lot of hoops on Underdog, you're familiar with him. Really savvy DFS player who's had a successful year on Underdog, qualified for the Dog Bowl, and does a lot of cool data analysis as well with the NBA stuff. So if you want to hear about his journey to becoming an NBA DFS crusher, highly recommend that episode. Even if you don't play NBA, there's a lot of, I think, valuable nuggets in there about how he's kind of self-taught, and really cool origin story too of he was a day one Lulz viewer, watched literally our first episode, the COVID night, the Rudy Gobert night, and picked up a ton of nuggets along the way from Brick on the show, and used that to launch his own successful DFS career. So yeah, if you want to hear about that story, you can become a YouTube member. I also do now have the other option. I've tried to mention this a few times. If you don't care about watching the premium shows live, or you don't care about the Discord access you get with your YouTube membership, there is now a Spotify membership version where you can get the audio version of those in your podcast app. It gives you a special RSS code to put into your app. So you just get those dropped in like any other podcast subscription. It doesn't matter to me if you want to be a member on YouTube or on Spotify, but just wanted to provide the audio listeners, who I will always service, with a nice option there, because I know for me, I'm an audio bro. I like listening to things on the go. So have spun that up. I have a link down below in the show notes if you would like to become an audio premium subscriber and get your After Dark shows that way. All right, we are back on the clock. This draft is ripping here. Looking like a pick between David Montgomery and James Conner. Let's go ahead. We did David Montgomery last week. We have Trey McBride. Let's go ahead and do a little teammate bet here with James Conner and add him to Trey McBride. Thank you to Mark Wood here, gifting 5 memberships. Appreciate you as always, Mark. And we are back on the clock here, not taking Patrick Mahomes. So this is going to be a wide receiver pick. Let's see. Should we do a rookie and have some fun? We could, you know what? I feel like we haven't had an opportunity to take Calvin Ridley yet. I think Calvin Ridley with a quarterback upgrade starts to get a little interesting. I didn't really have concerns with Calvin Ridley's play himself last year. He was getting used deep. I liked how he looked. It was just hard to get him the ball. So he's an interesting kind of, I think, bounce back candidate here, where he's being priced cheaper than he was last year. But I think if they get Cam Ward, I think you can argue that the quarterback situation will improve. maybe there's a little life there. So in the spirit of mixing and matching some of these wide receiver bets in the same tier, we go ahead and add Calvin Ridley. And so now our team here through 7 rounds, Omarion Hampton and James Conner at running back. We got our 4 wide receivers, Nico Collins, JSN, Chris Olave, and Calvin Ridley, and then Trey McBride at the tight end position. Trying to catch up on the chat here. We got a lot of things going fast and furious here. What is up, Andy? Shout out to Michael here with the very generous super chat, although under not the greatest of conditions. He says, need the content even more that they banned Underdog in New York. Not a commenter, but never miss an episode. Keep it up. Been in a couple high stakes drafts together. Yeah, man. For those of you guys who didn't hear, I believe it was it Friday? Underdog was abruptly shut down in New York. As I understand it, Underdog has to pay like a $17 million fine to continue operating. I think this stems from the legality of the Pick'em games. And while that lawsuit and that fine is pending, they have had to cease operations in New York, which is obviously a huge bummer. New York is a massive state. There are a ton of players who are very active in the draft community who live in New York. You can obviously see a lot of their comments on Discord and Twitter. It's unfortunate all around. I unfortunately, before you start asking me if I have any idea on timelines or how this stuff could potentially shake out, I legitimately have no clue. All I can say is I know Underdog is heavily invested in being able to operate in New York. So our interests and their interests are very much aligned. I'm sure they want to get this situation taken care of as fast as possible. But yeah, I have no updates or any inside info on when that could resolve itself. Just hoping it's sooner rather than later. So yeah, very much my heart goes out to all of the Underdog grinders in New York. That is incredibly frustrating. I know there are even people who, I'd seen some comments from people in Canada who couldn't play in Toronto, who used to drive across the border to New York to play. And now they've been, wiped out double there. I already know of some people making commutes to New Jersey to be able to draft. Obviously, depending on where you live in New York, those kind of, Underdog field trips might not be as possible as others. So yeah, just a really unfortunate situation, especially in such a big state like New York. So yeah, if I hear anything that I'm allowed to share, I will happily pass that along. But for now, it's just sit and wait. All right, we are back on the clock here. The drafter behind me, I'm wondering if I can push. I really would like Josh Downs here. And I'm wondering, can I push Kyler Murray through the turn? He doesn't have any Arizona players. I think I'm going to try to push it. I want to lock up Downs here. I think there's kind of a tier break after Josh Downs, although the drafter behind me only has 5. He already has 5 wide receivers. Would he do 6? Man, which one should I do? I'm going to lock up Downs. If he's willing to go 5 wide receivers, he's probably willing to go 6. Okay, and he goes Caleb and he goes Goff. Beautiful, beautiful. I think I was going to get both of them regardless, but now we were able to get Josh Downs and Kyler Murray. So we add Kyler Murray to the Trey McBride and James Conner squad, and we had Josh Downs as our 5th wide receiver here. Pretty ideal start for me, honestly. Kyler Murray at quarterback, Omarion Hampton, James Conner at running back, Nico Collins, JSN, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, and Josh Downs at wide receiver, and Trey McBride at tight end. Not bad. Not bad. Mr. Master says he just joined. What was the reason for Nico at 2 today? I promise you I didn't make that selection without talking about it. So you can wind back the tape and listen to my really well thought out and articulated logic for selecting Nico Collins at 102. Oh man, Terry Tacos is a New Yorker just learning about this now. I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Do not shoot the messenger in this case. Yes, Underdog's office is in Brooklyn. I will say Underdog at this point is such a remote company. They have way more employees that are based outside of New York than they do in New York. The New York offices are more of a, I don't know, like a figurative headquarters. If I were to put a descriptor on it. So yes, there is a little bit of irony there, but maybe not as much as you would think. Wow. See, Adam's already loving my Nico over Saquon play there. I will say, yeah, I like how this shook out for sure. This is what we would call one of those comfy starts, right? Does it mean it will ultimately be the type of build that wins 250,000? No. But does it make you feel really good when you draft it at the time, getting the stack, getting your quarterback and tight end, getting two nice running backs? Obviously, I think Omarion Hampton and Conner pair well with each other. We know what we're going to get from Conner with Hampton. We're getting more of that mystery box rookie upside, and then just really solid wide receiver play here with Nico, JSN, Olave, Ridley, and Downs. And getting some nice kind of buy the dip discounts on Olave, right? Olave, late second round pick last year, getting him at pick 50. Calvin Ridley, was a 5-6 turn pick for most of last summer. You get him at 74. Josh Downs is more expensive than he was last year, but I think rightfully so. I think he really kind of had almost a sneaky breakout. It was masked by kind of the quarterback shenanigans in Indianapolis. Obviously, his splits with and without Richardson were pretty different. I think still, if I'm being completely honest, I'm a little bearish on the Indianapolis situation. I know Corain had more hope for Josh Downs with Daniel Jones. Obviously, Daniel Jones isn't going to be Joe Flacco for him, but if he can be an improvement on Richardson as far as giving him the ball, maybe there's a little extra upside. But I think with Josh Downs, you're at least getting a guy we know is good. He's consistently earned targets, played at, all areas of the field. I think we can say he's #good. And that's a nice place to be in. This draft is absolutely whipping here. We're about to pick at the 10-11 turn. Seeing what we're going to be looking at here. I do think we can get CJ Stroud coming back. I really don't think Tuck Rule is going to take Stroud as his third quarterback ahead of ADP. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another teammate correlation here. I love Zach Charbonnet. I love this price. It's 15 picks past ADP, and we have JSN. I don't even know why I'm here. This team is drafting itself. We're going to take Zach Charbonnet, and then we're going to take CJ Stroud. The team is drafting itself. I think you could make the argument to push quarterback because we do have some different outs, but it's like, do I really want to be in the Derek Carr business? Do I really want to be in the guessing it's Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley business? Do I want to be in the Richardson Daniel Jones business? Not really. And if we're going to pull Nico Collins up to 102, we are saying Nico Collins is the motherfucking dude this year. And if he's the motherfucking dude, then CJ Stroud is balling out as well. So let's go ahead and lock that stack up. We now get Kyler with James Conner and Trey McBride. We get CJ Stroud to Nico Collins, and we pair Zach Charbonnet with JSN. Copy paste says you're in the Darnold business, Pete. You don't tell me what business I'm in. I'll tell you what business I'm in when I get there. I do think with these two quarterbacks, you start to leave yourself outs to play two quarterback teams if you need. But I like where this puts me because now I have essentially multiple cheap options for my third quarterback. If I want to do Darnold, if I want to do Cam Ward and try to play that angle, if I want to do Derek Carr as a last round pick, even though that's pretty shaky. But now it gives me the ability to not panic at quarterback. I can, dare I say, let the draft come to me. I can let the draft come to me. All right, Nikki P, who I know is a big grinder in these streets. I'm getting the stamp of approval here. Is Steph in the chat? Steph, you got your notebook? You taking notes, Steph? You better be taking notes. Now I just have to hope I don't drop the baby. Can't drop the baby. Speaking of not dropping the baby, shout out to our guy Nez, a.k.a. Nez Takes, a.k.a. one of the founding members of the Badge Bros. Just had his first child, Mello, over the weekend. Going to get that post-dad bump in the BR streets. We're all very excited for Nez and the family. Everyone looks happy, healthy, and all of that good stuff. So congratulations to Nez. There's a photo up on Twitter. I retweeted it if you want to go and see their beautiful baby boy, Mello. I'm going to pour a little more coffee here. You guys are getting 2 coffee pours through 12 rounds. I mean, how blessed? How blessed are we? Are you guys celebrating St. Patty's Day? Oh, that was the other thing I forgot on the weekend. We did go to a little St. Patrick's Day festival. I showed April pictures of leprechauns, assuming there would be like a leprechaun mascot, you know, at the thing. And then we spent the whole time looking for leprechauns. There were no leprechauns. There were people playing bagpipes. I think April was kind of scared of the bagpipes. But yeah, no leprechauns at a St. Patrick's Day festival. Yeah, that was disappointing. I feel like St. Patrick's Day is just, I mean, I celebrated it a few times in college. I just can't, as an adult, it is really tough to make an excuse to get blotto on a Monday and wear a bunch of green. I'm not going to begrudge people who are big St. Patty's Day people. I'm just saying it personally hasn't really fit into my life and my lifestyle much. All right, we are back on the clock. Okay, Trey Benson here. I don't want to do Trey Benson. I think what's interesting, ADP-wise, Tajay Spears is a little bit of a value. And I kind of like continuing to make some of these little teammate bets. We did Calvin Ridley. We're obviously betting on an improvement in this offense. Let's keep stacking these convenient pairings when they present themselves at ADP. So we go Ridley with Spears. We got Charbonnet with JSN. We got Conner with McBride. Trey Benson probably otherwise would have been the pick, but I don't really want to do the handcucking with Conner. You know, there's some backfields where I feel like the roles are different enough that I can justify both of them getting there without an injury. With Benson, it's hard to envision him really getting home without a James Conner injury. So on this team, I would prefer not to mess with that. Let's see here. Let's get a rookie. We need some rookie upside on this team. Let's go ahead and grab Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins continues to get a decent amount of buzz. We ate our vegetables with some boring veterans here. Actually, not boring veterans. I wouldn't call this wide receiver room boring. Maybe Calvin Ridley, Olave at this point are considered boring. But let's add Jaden Higgins as our wide receiver 6. All right, the chat goes wild. Wow. Higgins is a great wide receiver 6. Here we go. TCD says, how do you feel about the Irving Sean Tucker stack? Well, I hate that it has a name because the name implies as if you were going after it, the Irving Tucker stack. I mean, that one, again, seems to me pretty contingent dependent, right? Like both of those guys, to me, have similar skill sets. Maybe Bucky definitely has, maybe Bucky has more pass catching chops than Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker maybe just more of a straight rusher, but I still feel like you're going to need a Bucky injury for a guy like Sean Tucker to get home. But the price is so cheap that I can't like wave it too hard. Sean Tucker, ADP of 232.3. But if you are investing a late second round pick on Bucky, yeah, I guess I don't mind it. At that cost. If you thought it was the best pick available, can't say I would be going out of my way to pair those two. But with Tucker so cheap, I don't hate the gal brain element of that. And it seems like the early coach speak from Tampa Bay, they're still pretty hyped on Tucker. And it's hard not to be. I mean, I can't get that game that he had against New Orleans out of my head. Granted, it was New Orleans. But man, he looked phenomenal there. So I don't mind him as a dart throw. Bindles wants Cooper Kupp's beard edited on your face for the thumbnail. I should have made that request to my guy, Chris. Shout out Chris, as always, for whipping up some awesome thumbnails for us. It's funny because April loves it when I have, she calls it a beard. It's literally just peach fuzz, but she'll feel it and she's like, oh, daddy's beard. And I was joking with her yesterday because I had just shaved and she's like, oh, where's daddy's beard? And I was like, well, it'll come back in about 2 to 3 weeks, which would be about how long it would take me to grow noticeable facial hair. I did grow a beard once. I think it was like senior year of college. I let it go for a long time. And the weird thing, when I attempt to grow a beard, is it comes in kind of reddish. And I don't even have like reddish hair. I don't know how that happened, but it comes in reddish, and I did not like the look of it. Now, no, this isn't, going after any of the gingers out there. I'm just saying personally, I didn't like how the beard looked there. All right. Am I in the Sam Darnold business? Am I in the Sam Darnold business? Am I going to give this one to copy paste here who said I was going to be in the Sam Darnold business? I think we're going to do it. I don't want to be in the Derek Carr business. I think we're just going to do it. We'll go ahead and grab Sam Darnold here as our third quarterback, and we'll figure out what we want to do here. I'm in the Sam Darnold business. I knew it. I knew it. All right, I'm back on the clock here. You know what? I've been taking a decent amount of Algier. I mean, we talked about him a week or two where he's just that solid pick. You know exactly what you're getting from him. We know he's good. We know he has the contingent upside. We know he's going to have a standalone role. I think we can expect even hopefully a boost in offensive output with Michael Penix in year 2 here. The new coaching staff getting more comfortable. I kind of like it. So yeah, we're going to take Tyler Algier as our 5th running back at pick 170. And here's the team through 15 rounds. We got a 3-5-6-1. 3-5-6-1. Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, and Sam Darnold. We're up to 5 running backs: Omarion Hampton, James Conner, Zach Charbonnet, Tajay Spears, and Tyler Algier. And we have 6 wide receivers: Nico Collins at 102, mind you. We flipped the board. JSN, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, Josh Downs, and Jaden Higgins as our wide receiver 6. And still just 1 tight end here, Trey McBride. I think I could have made an argument to select a tight end there as well, but I kind of like the back end tight end options between the rookies, between some of the boring veterans. It's pretty easy to fill out a tight end 2, tight end 3. So I don't mind pushing that position a little bit later in the draft. Ant has affinity for Sam Darnold because he got him to BBM last season. Steven says he's seen people take Bijan and Algier, I guess, to have the Atlanta backfield locked up. Yeah, again, that one's on the fringe for me. Algier's cheap, does have a little standalone value, but where Algier is a league-winning smash, Bijan is obviously getting hurt. So in these big tournaments, I still think I want to shy away from it, or like make the room force me to do it. So say I took Bijan at 102. I'm not going to take Algier at 170 there. Maybe I'm going to grab another position, push it. And it's like, okay, Algier's still on the board. You're going to continue to give me him at an extreme value. All right, I'll do it there. But I don't want to be going out of my way to try to lock up handcuff situations like that. Shout out to everyone in the chat this morning. Looks like we got about 230 people watching live. We have Best Ball Breakfast every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you guys are new here, please subscribe, hit that like button. We have other shows on the channel throughout the week, including lulls that I do with Brian Hooper. We got Off and on the Clock. That'll be with John. I think John and I are actually going to draft a big board team tomorrow. We haven't drafted a big board team on Off and on the Clock yet. So no Nezzy. I think it'll just be me and John talking shop, drafting our first team together. I'll get to find what dusty players John Warner is into this year. Frankie says, with your Bowers McBride love, have you drafted any teams that have both of them? Or is that just too tough? I haven't. I do think it's tough in that their ADPs are on opposite side of the board. You know, you got Bowers early 2nd, McBride early 3rd. But I guess if you had Bowers fall to mid 2nd and then you had McBride fall to mid 3rd and you wanted to get really spicy, I don't think that would be bad. I'm not a huge fan of the bully tight end. Speaking of tight ends here, I think this pick just falls in our lap. Dalton Schultz, who I'm indifferent on, I think had a pretty underwhelming season last year. But again, if we're making the bounce back bet on the Texans offense, on CJ Stroud, on Nico Collins, I always like the tight end being a beneficiary of that rising tide. So we'll add Dalton Schultz here, a couple picks ahead of ADP, but I think a nice value on a team that already has CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. This is by far my most correlated big board team I've drafted on stream yet. I have not been able to lock in as many correlations as I have here. And speaking of that, I think I'm going to do it again. There's kind of two different ways I could go here for more correlation. I think I'm going to do it just with the closer ADP value and do it with AD Mitchell. So even though we're not going to play the quarterback situation with Indy, I'm going to go ahead and stack up 80 in Josh Downs. And I think the same logic prevails here, right? Where if Josh Downs smashes, it means we're getting better than expected quarterback play. I already have 3 quarterbacks. I don't need to deal with the Richardson, Daniel Jones mess. I can just continue to make bets that the offense surprises. Adding AD Mitchell, I think, is a year 2 guy who flashed a little bit in year 1 at this price. I think makes sense here. So this is an extremely correlated team, which I always enjoy. And we're now up to a 3-5-7-2 here with 3 more picks remaining. And I think pretty balanced positionally here as well. There's no positions we're really scrambling at. Going to add another wide receiver, going to add another running back probably, and then probably a 3rd tight end. This will probably end up with the cozy 3-6-8-3 build. Yeah, Nick says only problem with AD is the team loves Pierce. And that's certainly a problem. I think if I had to make a comp for it, it would be a little bit like kind of the Broncos situation heading into this year where you kind of have the ambiguity. I guess in this case, the AD Mitchell is kind of like both Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. And then you're going to have the Alec Pierce be the like Tim Patrick, Devon Vele, where it's like, we know the coaching staff likes them. Obviously, Tim Patrick's out of the picture. But I think what you're betting on, you truly are betting on the black box nature of and I guess it's not a black box in the same way the rookies are, but you're blindly betting on a year 2 breakout from a really young, talented wide receiver who came into the league with pretty much all the tools you'd want from an NFL wide receiver, but he was unpolished, right? Like he had some mistakes. He had a hard time earning consistent playing time in those 3 wide receiver sets. And so he was more of a part-time player. But I think with his skill set and his athleticism, I think if he does improve and earns the coach's good graces a little bit more, then you start to see really big upside in a way that I don't necessarily think Alec Pierce can break out. I think we know what Alec Pierce is at this point, where I'm not convinced we know exactly what AD Mitchell is based on his draft capital, based on what his prospect looked like. So obviously there's more downside with a guy like AD Mitchell than there is kind of those tried and true picks, but I like embracing that kind of risk profile this late in the draft. This was the other name I was considering was Michael Wilson. Obviously getting Michael Wilson on this big Cardinal stack. I thought I could just play the ADP game, see if I could push it, and I was able to do that. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab Michael Wilson as our 8th wide receiver here and continues to get us a big bet on the Cardinals. So now we got Kyler, we got James Conner, we got Michael Wilson, and we got Trey McBride. So now I think we're looking at a running back and a tight end most likely. I think I think this is where we really shoot the moon, right? I mean, we're going to be swinging for upside. I'm thinking rookie running back, rookie tight end with these last 2 picks. I think I will. Normally, it's always Mason Taylor, right? It's just Mason Taylor in every draft. But I was going to take Harold Fannin. I was trying to vamp and get Harold Fannin. Do we just play? Let's mix it up. We've done Taylor a ton. Let's do Arroyo here. Elijah Arroyo. Don't ask me to tell you anything about him other than the fact that he's also a rookie tight end flyer. And I don't want to take Mason Taylor in every single draft. So we're going to take Elijah Arroyo, and then we'll figure out what we want to do with a high upside running back selection there. Big Best Ball doesn't want you to know Alec Pierce was the Colts' leading wide receiver last year. Hey, was he by fantasy points wise? I know he had some big games. Trust me. I did. I played him in some of the shorter slates. I was very familiar with Alec Pierce's game. Did he really have more fantasy points than Downs? I guess Pittman was injured for a while. I guess Downs was. I guess I would buy that. Alec Pierce was kind of the one who was quarterback proof, right? He would get the deep balls from Richardson. He would also succeed there a little bit with Joe Flacco. So I'm not going to check the chain right now. I'm just going to believe you. And I believe you that he was very productive last year. Nick says Arroyo is a big wide receiver, good athleticism with Ward last year. All right, love to hear that. Yeah, I guess then similar to kind of Harold Fannin, kind of a glorified wide receiver. One more pick here. I generally like to do a little crowdsourcing with you guys. I do think this is going to be a running back. I'll let the chat know and our audio listeners, although the audio listeners after the fact will not be able to contribute to this pick. But by ADP, we're looking at Nick Chubb, Justice Hill, Audric Estime, Roshan Johnson, Raheem Mostert, who's now on the Raiders, Sean Tucker, who we've discussed, McLaughlin. If I look at the leg up ranks, you're going to see some more rookies up here, obviously. I would like this to be a rookie, I think, to give us the most possible upside. Trevor Etienne, Khalil Mullings, La Quinta, Allen, Taj Brooks, Marcus Yarns. Any of these guys I think would make sense, and I will let you guys help me make an informed running back dart selection. Nick likes Mullings. Zach likes Taj. Any more votes? Any more votes? I am absolutely not giving Zamir White a second chance. Well. Look who's a YouTube member. None other than the Fast Puppy winner, Raymond Zani. We've been trying to get our wires in sync here for an After Dark show. I think we might try to make it happen this weekend if Raymond can figure out his tech. But becoming a YouTube member here in advance of his big appearance on After Dark. Welcome, Raymond. Did Jaden Blue go? Jaden Blue did not go. Is that a vote for Jaden Blue? Let me put all the suggestions in the cat. So we have another Blue. There was the Khalil. There's the Taj Brooks. Any other suggestions here? Jaquez Hunter. Oh, Taj goes. Jaquez Hunter went. This is rookie suggestions only. I'm not taking CH. I'm not taking Miles Sanders, but I don't think that's like the worst thing in the world. I'll put him in the queue for you guys, though, just now that he's on Dallas. I guess that's not the worst thing. I'm on board with that. Dane's going to give me some time. I appreciate that there on the clock right now. Is this a real name? LeJohntay Wester. I feel like this is where you guys are dicking around with me. That is actually a real name. This is a wide receiver. There's a wide receiver in the pool named LeJohntay Wester. Are you just trying to show off, Lutz? Because that really seems like a made-up name. It really seems made up. All right. What do we... Okay, I think two people said Jaden Blue. Two people said Jaden Blue. I have no clue who this is, but let's do it. Let's do it. All right, Jaden Blue, welcome to the squad. Wide receiver, running back 6. This team is in the books. Look, I don't know if Steph is here to grade this. I don't know if she's here to grade this. I don't want to lead the witness, but I feel like this is the best team I've drafted on stream. I believe this is my 9th team. Let's go see my 9th. Yeah, I had 8 big board entries in the books. Ooh, I need to name these. Man, I've been slacking on my naming. But all of these have been streamed. This was my 9th draft here. And I think it was my best one. Here it is for the audio listeners who I will always service. If you cannot listen or watch these live on Monday mornings, I post the audio to these shows on the In a Vacuum podcast feed. If you search In a Vacuum, you will be able to locate this podcast feed. I also have a link down below. This is the team for the audio listeners. Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Sam Darnold at quarterback. 6 running backs, Omarion Hampton, James Conner, Zach Charbonnet, Tajay Spears, Tyler Algier, and Jaden Blue. Wide receivers, 8 of them. Nico Collins at 102. JSN, Chris Olave, Calvin Ridley, Josh Downs, Jaden Higgins, the controversial A.D. Mitchell, and Michael Wilson. And then 3 tight ends, Trey McBride, Dalton Schultz, Elijah Arroyo. So we get a Kyler Murray triple stack with Connor, with Michael Wilson, with McBride. We get a CJ Stroud double stack with Nico and Dalton Schultz. And we get a Sam Darnold stack with Zach Charbonnet and JSN. This one felt good. It felt clean. Is Steph here? Is Steph here to grade this team? Nick's giving it an A-. Whew. Okay, Blue ran a 4.3840. There you go. Christian says all names are made up. That sounds like the school of philosophy of all numbers look the same. When I was watching the Shipcast this year and would get confused which players were which. Wally says, where's Jordan Mason going in these drafts now? Good question. Yeah, that was the other kind of big move over the weekend. Mason getting traded to the Vikings. Looks like he went here at pick 144. 144. I took Tajay Spears at 143, and he went right after at 144. Obviously, there's going to be a little lag in his ADP. ADP of 170 right now. It appears that'll be on the move if he's going at 144. I have no problem with that. I think you're getting a really nice contingent upside back. I mean, you're essentially getting what you did last year, except it's behind Aaron Jones instead of CMC. So maybe there's more paths to carving a standalone role. We already saw the Vikings be willing to go away from Aaron Jones, not just for injury, but when he was dealing with fumble stuff. They'd bring in Cam Akers for a little bit. I mean, he got soft benched in one of those games last year. So I do think the outlook for Mason, maybe not quite as efficient of a run scheme, obviously, as you have in San Francisco, but he was very good last year. I think he could be someone who carves out a standalone short yardage situation role. Maybe you get him coming in there for a few goal line carries. So getting that mix of standalone versus also some contingent upside is pretty nice. You know, he's kind of like Tyler Algieri in that regard, although again, not as big of a roadblock in front of him as a Bijan. So yeah, I don't mind the Mason stuff for now. I think that seems like the right price for a contingent back with a little upside. Nick says Steph would grade this one well. The results are coming in. Lutz giving me a B+. All right. Tough but fair. Get an A-, little Dodger, B. You get a P for Peter. Is that a passing grade? P for passing? I'll take it. Is the 4 in the title hinting at 4 drafts today? I don't think so. I don't think 4. Although if we get rolling, we might be able to get 3 in. Because here's the thing. I meant to, of all the other announcements here, ADP chasing is going to be moving to Tuesdays going forward. So no ADP chasing today. They will be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern and all subsequent Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. In addition to that, there's some fun announcements coming with ADP chasing and ship chasing this weekend. Or this week. So stay tuned. You guys can follow us on Twitter at ship chasing. We're going to let people know in the Discord as well, but got some fun programming announcements for ADP chasing and ship chasing coming up. And as it pertains to today, no ADP chasing immediately following the show, but there will be an ADP chasing tomorrow. Raymond coming in and saying, B grade, keep Michael Wilson on the low, LOL. Yeah, Michael Wilson was an interesting one. I made my video on the Deposit Kingdom last year, piggybacking on some research that RotoViz did, looking at the types of players that break out in year 2. And Michael Wilson actually fell in that bucket of what he did year 1 as far as his efficiency and his age. So there's still a lot to like about Michael Wilson. He does seem like a guy that could have a bit of a flop lag breakout, a year 3 breakout. And I think he was more a victim of just that offense being somewhat dysfunctional last year. I think kind of a rising tide would lift all the boats there in Arizona. Kyler plays a little better. We get Marvin Harrison kind of fully up to speed in year 2. Obviously, Trey McBride has ascended to an alpha there. So yeah, I have high hopes for the Cardinals offense. And in these big board drafts, I do really like just making big concentrated bets on a single team like that. And yeah, making a bet that Kyler can actually see over the offensive line this year. That would be nice. All right, let's hop in another draft. Let's do it. My 10th big board draft here. We need 8. Hop in, play around. Yeah, other big news overnight, we had the Bengals locking up both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So T. Higgins can finally be happy. He initially did get hit with the franchise tag. He was clearly not happy about that for the second straight year. But now the final tally, Jamar gets a 4-year, $161 million deal, and T. Higgins gets a 4-year, $115 million deal. As Matthew Friedman said on Twitter, maybe not the smartest team building allocation, but as far as fantasy, as far as the Bengals offense, this is very good news. And what is also good news is I continue to get early draft slots. Should we flip the board again? We now have the 1-3 in this draft. The 1-3. I'm telling you, I can't get a late draft slot. I can't earn a 101 either. They're all 1-2s, 1-3s, and 1-4s. Should I flip it again? Who should we do this time? Who should we do? You guys want to get spicy? You want to get spicy? Bowers? Let's do someone that's actually been anchored to the 1-2 side of the board. My fear with Bowers is that there are some teams that were able to get him at 22 early when he would slide back. Let's do Ginty. Let's do Ginty. Let's flip the board with Ginty here. He has been fixed over on the 1-2 turn. I don't think it should shock anyone if Ginty delivers, top 2, top 3 running back production down the stretch. Let's have a little fun. We'll grab Ginty opposite his normal side of the board and get him paired with 2 players over here that he's not normally paired with. I'm Loco. Loco Pete drafting is fun. I do think in general, even as someone who in almost all drafting formats definitely respects the market, respects ADP, at least as of right now, a lot of these tiers feel relatively flat to me. Like, I actually don't feel like I'm being that crazy, especially when you think through this lens. Okay, one of the reasons you want to be more respectful of the market is in high volume situations, right? If you take Ashton Genty at 3 every single time with 150 bullets, you're going to end up with like 55, 60, 80%, whatever Ashton Genty. That's too much. I'm going to be having limited volume in these contests. Like, I'm going to probably end up with 15 to 20 total big board drafts. So if I'm always getting draft slots at the top and I want some exposure to Ashton Genty in the big board, then I'm going to have to do some crazy stuff because the randomization gods are not doing me any favors. So I think the more volume you're doing, the more respectful of ADP you want to be. If you're doing smaller volume, then I think going out and getting your guys, trying to be a little more exploitative with your play is a smart strategy. And I think that's the same thing for drafting BRs too, right? Like, I've been more willing. I've been doing a lot of hoops drafting right now, but I'm not doing big volume. I'm doing a couple $100 a slate. I'm not coming anywhere close to 150 maxing, putting 20 to 30 in the big contest. And I'm okay having 50, 60% of a player on a given slate. If there's a late round, 6th round guy who I think is undervalued, I don't mind just having a bunch of him. If I was drafting 150 teams, I'm not going to have 50% of a 6th round guy. That's just probably not how I would personally play it. But on limited volume, I'm willing to take stands more. So that's kind of how I think about it across these things, and why in Best Ball Mania, you didn't see me, trying to flip the board quite as much, because I knew I'm going to get a 110. I'm going to get a 111. I'm going to get a spot where I can draft Ginty at cost. But I am seriously looking at the calendar, looking at the fill rate, looking at all of these early draft slots I keep getting and saying, fuck it. I might have to start pulling these guys up if I want some shares. And then you get the added benefit. If you can say with a straight face that you're not sacrificing too much value, you do get the added benefit of some combos of players at the top of the board that aren't as frequented. And this was actually something we talked about with Wood on After Dark. So here's the thing. Let's go ahead. Let's mix this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab T. Higgins, fresh off of his big payday. We did JSN earlier. I do want to grab a wide receiver here. I don't want to get fully shut out of this wide receiver tier. I think there's a good chance that JSN, Garrett Wilson, and T. Higgins went. And I have no problem grabbing a second running back here. But let's go ahead and lock up one wide receiver. So we start Ashton Jeanty at 3. We go T. Higgins at 22. T. Higgins has kind of been living on this side of the board as well. So hopefully that part of the play bears out, that there's not going to be too many Jeanty and Higgins teams, which is kind of what we're looking for if we're going to make a play like that. All right, let's see here what Jay Strez does. JSN, Jonathan Taylor, and Chase Brown go in between us, and then he goes Garrett Wilson here. Let's do Bucky. Let's do Bucky. We're going to start high T this morning. I'm not going to pull up DJ Moore, McLaurin, Harrison. I think I will not mind the wide receivers at the 4 or 5 turn. Let's grab Bucky here. So we start Jeanty and Bucky Irving with T. Higgins. And again, I don't think there are going to be too many Jeanty, Bucky Irving teams, right? Ashton Jeanty's ADP 13.4, Bucky's 23.1. So completely opposite sides of the board there. So hopefully this trio here is pretty unique. I think you'd have lots of T. Higgins and Bucky teams, but basically none of them that included the number 1 running back prospect in the class. What's up, Copper? Again, speaking of new dads, not only was Nez a new dad, I guess Copper's not a new dad. This is old hat for him at this point, but had another child. Congratulations, Copper. Hope the baby and mama are doing well. So many people in the kingdom having babies these days. Lute says, I don't understand Bucky's ADP. In which direction? You think he's too cheap or too expensive? I don't have any problems with it. I have 0 problems with it. Bucky was a revelation last year. It's one of the highest scoring offenses in football. He catches passes. He's explosive. He absolutely dusted Rachaad White down the stretch to earn that role. The band is getting completely back together. They retain Chris Godwin. I have no problems with the Bucky price. I'm honestly kind of surprised underdog drafters weren't even pushing him up higher, that he wasn't kind of like a second round pick. I think it's fine. I mean, you look where some of these other backs are going. You know, James Cook goes late 3rd round. We see Omarion Hampton go here. I have no problem with the Bucky price. Nah. Why do people not like Bucky? What more did you need to see from Bucky last year? I legitimately want to hear the counter to Bucky as a 3rd round pick. I'm genuinely curious. Okay, so now we're in the business of predicting injuries. Bucky not going to last the whole year. You can literally say that about any running back in football. You can say that about any running back. Hang on, I'm on the clock here. I think we do need to get some wide receivers. Let's go ahead and grab Rashee Rice here. We'll get a second wide receiver. Yes, as Benny says here, predicting running back injuries did not work last year. I'm open to other criticisms of the Bucky, but he's not going to hold up, because then you have a magic crystal ball that only you have, that none of us else have, in the most chaotic and random sport there is. Next, I need a better argument against Bucky than that. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Rashee stuff. So the Twitter docs, and I'm sorry, I feel like it always comes off as a pejorative when I say it like this, but the fantasy doctors think that his rehab is much further ahead of schedule. I think it was Jeff Mueller was reviewing some of his lateral movement, and that surprised him based on his expectation for where he would be at. So there's been some bullishness in the market on where Rashee Rice's rehab is right now. All right, man, it's so hard for me. Man, do I do Jalen Hurts or George Kittle? I love me some elite tight ends. I also like this value on Jalen Hurts here. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. I took George Kittle. I had, obviously you can take Goddard, right? Otherwise, there's no fun stacking options. Devontae Smith is already off the board. You have A.J. Brown already off the board. I took George Kittle. Played the hits. Mark is happy I saved his stack. You're welcome, Mark. I did it all for you, brother. You gifted those 5 memberships. Just kidding. There's no collusion. I did not pass on Jalen Hurts, so Mark Wolf could have a stack. I did it because at my core, I love me some elite tight ends. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and yes, George Kittle at pick 51, I still very much love. No more value hound yell. Yeah, I mean, Ashton Jeanty, 10 picks ahead of ADP. That's the reverse value hound. I guess Bucky Irving, 4 picks past ADP. Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'll try to give you a better howl here at some point. Pack, you got to come with a better. Your only talking point for Bucky is that he gets nicked up. That you got to come with a better talking point, man. We cannot be in the business of predicting injuries for running backs. He is going to get the same amount of touches as a bunch of other running backs going in his range. All of those other running backs are liable for injury risk. If you play professional football and you are a running back who plays professional football, who is the lead back, who gets anywhere from 15 to 25 touches per game, you are at risk of getting injured in any game, and we have no way of predicting it. Also, if you even want to do the injury-prone thing, there are far more running backs in the league who have been injured at a higher rate than Bucky Irving. Sorry, I'm done with this Bucky is injury-prone argument. I could go through every single player in the league right now and be like, aren't you worried that they might get hurt? Am I worried about Tyreek Hill getting hurt? Yes. Am I worried about Christian McCaffrey? Absolutely. Am I worried about Devon Achane getting hurt? Yes. Malik Neighbors? Yes. Devontae Adams getting hurt? Yes, I'm worried about that. Kyron Williams getting hurt? I'm terrified. What if Josh Allen gets hit on his shoulder? Yes, I'm worried about him. Zay Flowers, he didn't even play the end of the playoffs. I'm worried about him getting hurt. Temp McMillan, what if he's too skinny? What if he gets hurt? Yes. Devontae Smith weighs like 150 pounds soaking wet. What if he gets hurt? Joe Mixon. Oh no, what if he gets hurt? All right, one more coffee pour. Oh no. How does that spilling out of the top there? Now I'm worried about my coffee pot getting hurt. Kittle's dinged up every season. How is he not round 12? Exactly. All right, we are on the clock here. Is this a fair price for George Pickens? I think this is a fair price for George Pickens. I might even give, everyone listen, 7 picks past ADP. His price is obviously dropping with the addition of DK Metcalf. But on a team where I started with 2 running backs and a tight end, and I'm catching up at wide receiver, I still like what Pickens can give me from a spike week perspective there. So we'll grab George Pickens as our 3rd wide receiver. Pickens is going to get hurt. God damn it. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about it. Pickens is definitely getting hurt. This entire team, just send him to the hospital right now. Send him to the hospital. Should we do Mahomes? We passed on Hurts to grab Kittle. We could also do one of the rookie wide receivers. We're not going to have Burrow. We don't know who the quarterback is. I guess Purdy could maybe, be back for us. I'm a little more worried about getting in a weird spot with quarterback. Let's go ahead and just grab Mahomes at this cost. Right at ADP, stacked up with Rashee Rice. could definitely have made a case to grab one of those wide receivers. This is another issue, having been on this side of the board. I haven't really been in a spot lately to grab Matthew Golden. You do see both of these wide receivers go back to back here. Packhorse says Mahomes is lame. Is it because you think he might get hurt? Is that why? Yeah, Terrence knows. Mahomes with that ankle, no way. Kudos to everyone for understanding how to play with a bit. Tim says, you seem pretty in on Rice right now. Why? I think I've taken him twice in 10 big board drafts. I've had all early draft slots, so he's a wide receiver. That's at the 4-5 turn. I just explained that his injury rehab is looking better. He was really, really good when he was on the field down the stretch last, or 2 years ago. Obviously before his injury. I don't really see myself as super high or super low on Rashee Rice. I think he's priced pretty well. And, you're starting to do the 2v2s of, Bucky. So I could have taken DJ Moore and who would have been the running back here? What are you looking at? Like DJ Moore and Joe Mixon, or Bucky Irving and Rashee Rice? Those are the 2v2s you're looking at there, I guess. Yeah, I don't mind the Bucky Rashee Rice side. Rice is a good pick because he can't get hurt while already hurt. That's the thing. That was like the initial thesis of drafting Justin Fields last year as a starter. It was like, or no. It was when we were hoping that Russ Wilson would be announced as starter, that Russ Wilson would play the 8 games, then get benched, and Justin Fields would come on. You actually didn't want him to be starting because then he was liable to getting benched. It's the same thing with Rashee Rice. You draft the guy who's already injured, then they can't get re-injured. Play chess, not checkers. Yeah, Ben says he misses spamming Devontae at the 4-5 turn. Yeah, I've not been able to get Devontae. I guess I could have pulled him up to that 3rd round slot where I took Bucky. He went at pick 34 in this draft. Yeah, and I have no problems with that price. I did a piece for Fantasy Life last week looking at the ADP risers, and I think he's going to settle in this mid-3rd round range. If you want to take Devontae Adams ahead of Harrison, ahead of McLaurin, ahead of DJ Moore, I don't have any problems with it. I think about there is kind of my breaking point, but I just don't know how, again, not that each individual is representative of the market, but I don't know how we could have all been so excited to draft Cooper Kupp in the late 2nd round last year with Puka and Stafford, but not be excited to draft Devontae Adams in essentially the same spot. All right, our team, we're about to add another pick here. I think we go Jalen McMillan. We need to grab more wide receivers. You can see here the leg up ranks do not like him relative to ADP. I've been a little bit higher on him. This is actually past ADP, so he is dropping with the Chris Godwin re-signing. But I have Bucky here, and I need wide receiver help. And it really starts to thin out at wide receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and lock up Jalen McMillan as my 4th wide receiver here. And we'll see what we do at pick 99. I think the decision is going to be like, do we grab Kelsey with the Mahomes stack, or do we grab, Brock Purdy potentially to go with Kittle? Baker Mayfield is already off the board here. My guy, Mark was not going to give me a chance. This is the other issue with picking on this side of the board, is these guys will not let me get another share of Travis Hunter after I made my video. They will not let me get cheap Travis Hunter. He goes at pick 93 here, and I don't think that's crazy at all. I think we do Brock. We don't have too many other clean outs at quarterback. I don't want to take Kelsey. Right now ahead of ADP just to force the double with Mahomes. Let's grab Brock Purdy. So we get Mahomes and Brock Purdy. Mahomes stacked with Rice. Brock Purdy stacked with Kittle. We'll figure it out from there. If you guys missed it, it was last week, I believe. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I can't remember now. I made a video about Travis Hunter on the Deposit Kingdom YouTube channel. I made a case for him being one of the most mispriced players on the board right now. I think I make a pretty compelling argument. There were lots of interesting comments. It's definitely a polarizing take. Some people agree with me. Some people very much disagree with me. I posted a short of it on TikTok as well. There were a lot of people disagreeing with me over on TikTok. If you want to get Travis Hunter in your rooms, what I learned is try to get in a big board draft with 100% people on TikTok. If you do that, you will be able to get Travis Hunter at like pick 180. Over on TikTok, they want nothing to do with Travis Hunter. If only there were a way to just play fantasy football against people who exclusively hang out on TikTok, then we would all be rich. Tyler says, Pete boosting Travis Hunter ADP is the ship casting Sky Moore era. That sounds like some tears from someone who didn't pack enough bags. You think Travis Hunter is seeing how much T. Higgins and Jamar Chase just got paid and said, yeah, I want to go play cornerback? Get out of here. Get out of here. The fading or worrying over Travis Hunter is one of the most like overthinking best ball bro dynamics I've ever seen. We play to win the game. Yeah, New England's going to draft Travis Hunter and have him play full-time quarterback. The franchise finally drafts a wide receiver. The team that hasn't been able to hit on a wide receiver pick for their goddamn life is going to draft Travis Hunter and say, play 100% of your snaps on a 3-14 dog shit team. Travis Hunter is going to be a wide receiver and he's going to be a fucking good one. All right. I haven't recapped my team here for the audio listeners. Let's catch you up here. Through 9 rounds, we have Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy at quarterback. We have running backs Ashton Jeanty and Bucky Irving. We have wide receivers T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, and Jalen McMillan, and tight end George Kittle. Similar to our first draft this morning, we got a little funky at the top of the board because we've been bored picking in slots 2, 3, or 4. So we flipped it with Ashton Jeanty and paired him with a couple of guys he's not basically ever paired with in Bucky and T. We got a couple of skinny stacks here with Mahomes and Brock Purdy to Rashee Rice and Kittle, and then just trying to recover at wide receiver as best as we can. T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Jalen McMillan. We'll definitely be doing a lot of spraying and praying at wide receiver in the middle rounds here. Probably going to have to get a mix of kind of veterans and rookies to round out this relatively weak wide receiver room. But I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. All right, let's see. Do we want to look at Mark. Mark's the one hoarding all the wide receivers. 6 wide receivers here. Let's see. I still can't do the Isaiah Pacheco thing. I think we're just going to draft Keon Coleman, which feels gross. But he is a body who plays wide receiver, who is still relatively young and very funny. That's what I feel like I need in my life again. I need more clips of Keon Coleman as a social media star. Remember that? Last year I feel like there was like a tale of 2 narratives with Keon Coleman. It was Keon Coleman doing social media for the Bills right after he was drafted, just being a complete ball of energy, hilarious. And then there was Keon Coleman, the disappointment on the football field. And I haven't seen a funny Keon Coleman clip in a long time. Where is the Bills social media team? It is time to rehab Keon Coleman's public persona. Make us all forget about him flopping in year 1 with some funny videos. Please, I'm begging you. That's the Keon Coleman I want to remember. Look at this string of quarterbacks and tight ends here, none of which I want to take. I don't mind Keenan. I don't mind, man, we're going to have to reach a little bit. Let's do let's grab the Keenan Allen mystery box. Keenan Allen's going to go somewhere and play. And he's likely going to be productive because that is what he has done his entire career. And I need wide receivers. I need them bad. I need him bad. I did it for you, Nick. A little Keenan. Yeah, he does still feel cozy to me. I mean, Keenan's ADP, like, you know, if Keenan would have signed with the Seahawks, I mean, he's going to go a couple rounds earlier. You're basically just getting the uncertainty discount right now. No one likes taking a player who doesn't have a team unless they're a rookie. But as far as free agents, less concerned about like his health and falling off the cliff as I am with Stephon Diggs, who could just be completely toast. I mean, we still saw Keenan leading that wide receiver room last year with a lot of competition for targets. And he's going to fit in on certain teams. It's kind of like the type of running backs you target when you have a 0 RB squad, you load up on a lot of these rookie running backs, and sometimes you just need to bank some touches on your team because you might be taking a lot of zeros early. I think it's the same thing on this really volatile wide receiver room I have. I mean, after Rashee Rice, Pickens, McMillan, Keon, I mean, there's a fuck ton of questions with that wide receiver room. Undoubtedly, a lot of questions. So a guy like Keenan Allen, who I know wherever he lands is going to be earning targets, I think makes sense on a team like this. But I will say this team does not feel as good as the last one did. It does not. I missed this. Diggs was seen throwing with Geno. Man, that would be interesting. I guess it wouldn't. I mean, maybe it would be like a slight ding to Jacoby Myers' value, but even then, the thing about Diggs, what have we learned? He does not handle not getting targeted well, right? I mean, he's on the high end of the NFL diva spectrum. His game as a veteran wide receiver is not going to age gracefully. This is going to be the dude pouting on the sideline. If he goes to Las Vegas and he's watching Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers rack up targets, and he's getting 3.5 targets a game, he's going to have one of those Antonio Brown level meltdowns. Like in my head, I just picture Stephon Diggs ripping off the jersey, walking to the stands, going through the locker room, out of the stadium, and never playing a game of football again. That's how I kind of feel his career is going to end. He's not going to be able to earn targets. He's going to have a meltdown, and he's going to quit. And he'll go and be a podcaster. Get Stephon Diggs a podcast. Let's get him on the mic. Let's get him a New Heights. Talk to us about what it's like dating Cardi B. He'll have a great second career as an entertainer. But I don't think I want to be in the Stephon Diggs fantasy business this year. All right. Should we do a little Dallas Goedert here? Dallas Goedert, a bit of an ADP value. Like 9 picks past ADP here. Get a second tight end with Kittle. We could also grab a wide receiver here, but let's grab Goedert here. I think Goedert as a second tight end with Kittle makes sense. There you go for the value hounds. Oh, 8 picks past ADP. Congratulations to us. Man, I should have taken Jalen Hurts, huh? If I would have taken Jalen Hurts, I could have had that stack. Sliding doors moment for me. And then if I didn't take Jalen Hurts, or if I took Jalen Hurts, then I would have taken one of these rookie wide receivers instead of Mahomes. Imagine that world. We could have been living in that world. Chris says Diggs would complain about not getting enough views in Switch podcasts. Yeah, he would be really shaking his fist at the algorithm. Diggs reminds me so much of Jimmy Butler. Pack Horse, I'm begging you, find a new slant, dude. This is the last time I address it. This is the last time. We've moved on, brother. We have moved on. All right, let's grab a running back here. We passed on Trey Benson last draft because we had James Conner. Let's go ahead and grab Trey Benson here as our running back 3. We pair him with Gene T and Bucky Irving. And now we can recap the team through 13 rounds. Mahomes and Purdy at quarterback, doing fine there. Grabbed our 3rd running back, Gene T, Bucky Irving, Trey Benson. Up to 6 wide receivers after the slow start there. T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, and Keenan Allen. And then 2 tight ends, George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. So we'll definitely need to continue to build out the wide receiver room with some more quantity in running back as well. Hurt is literally in his name. You're fine. That's right. That was subliminal messaging from Jalen Hurts on why I can't draft him. Devin is getting excited to draft because he's not drafting pre-draft. Yeah. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Like I said, I'm not joking when I do not begrudge anyone who wants to draft year round and wants to blast off. I think it honestly sounds fun if you're built that way. I do fall a little bit more on the burned out spectrum if I go absolutely ham. And I just kind of like variety. I am drafting a decent amount these days, but I'm drafting NBA. I'm having fun with that new puzzle, getting better at that, learning, applying some of the stuff I applied in the BRs for NFL to that. But I will say last year, having not gone ham during the pre-big board draft, like Devin said, I was so excited to draft in the summer. I felt refreshed. I felt rejuvenated. And I legitimately get excited every time I draft right now. And maybe you do too. Maybe the 150 maxers get excited. But I will say, for me, it doesn't ever feel like a chore, which I've already kind of, I think I've had some rants before where it's like, if best ball starts feeling like a chore to you, it's time to zoom out and look in the mirror, because this shouldn't be a chore. It should be fun. And yes, drafting on slightly lesser volume definitely makes me appreciate it more. Scarcity. That's just for me. And I am going to make sure that I max out these other high stakes contests here. So the 5 entry max big board, the $100, I have 2 more entries for that. I'm still in a couple slows there. And then I'll get in the biggest board as well. Haven't done any of those. We'll probably draft those closer to lock, which it looks like the majority of people who are going to play this are going to do the same. Closes April 24th. So I bet we'll see this pick up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll get my action down, but it'll be more so via entry fees than actual draft volume. All right, we're about to pick at the 14-15 turn here. We pick at 14-10. The teams behind us, 2-4-5-2, 2-4-7. So they need tight ends. J Strez is pretty balanced here. I don't see anything that I'm going to do quarterback-wise. I think I'm good at tight end for now as well. So we're really just looking at running backs and wide receivers. I already drafted Keenan Allen. Isn't that enough, Dusty Vet, to draft for one? So I don't need to do Adam Thielen. This feels like a running back selection. Mark snap picks Giddens. So I think this is right or Corum for me. Let's do Corum here. I don't have much of a rhyme or reason for it. I think Corum's, the bet is a little more straightforward, which is still just the straight contingency bet behind Kyron. The Jalen Wright, I guess he's going ahead of him because people envision slightly more outs for a standalone role, but let's be honest, he's still firmly behind Achane. So let's grab Corum. And now with Benson and Corum, we're just playing back last year's handcuff bets at a much cheaper cost. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and, we're going to be grabbing a wide receiver at pick 171. the running back, unless we do like an RJ Harvey thing, but I think this is a wide receiver pick. I don't want to do Adam Thielen. Who do you guys like of these rookies? Should we do Bond? Bond, it looks like, is the highest in the leg up ranks. I think we did Noah last time, and it's a little further back in ADP. Not that it matters at this point, but let's get finally a rookie wide receiver in here. We'll grab Bond at 71. Looks like the chat did not like that. They wanted null. They wanted Royals. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I failed you. Yeah, I think I drafted both of those guys in my previous drafts. Where am I? Let's see who we drafted last. Last week we drafted Hunter, Horton, Ty Felton. We drafted Savion Williams, Ricky White, Tez Johnson. We drafted, no rookie wide receivers here. I remember that one. This one was with Pat. We didn't, Tet McMillan was the only one. Maybe I don't have as many shares of these guys. There's a Travis Hunter, Jaden Higgins team. There's another Travis Hunter team. There's a Jalen Royals team. I knew I had selected him once. Royals, Savion Williams, Horton. And, okay, I need a Noel team then. There you go. That's on my to-do list. Let's make it happen. If we're thinking through third quarterback options, there's not a lot here. I guess we could kind of do the Shadur Sanders, Jackson Dart, QB3, kind of sidestep the stacking question. Because otherwise, I mean, Darnold and Carr don't make sense for this team. So it's going to either just be a QB team with Mahomes and Purdy, or we maybe take a rookie Dart there. Tight end, same deal. Can probably take a rookie Dart or stand pat if we want. Definitely need to load up with some more rookie upside bets at running back. Only 4 running backs here through 15 rounds. So we can throw some darts there. Yeah, Pack Horse, this is your final warning, dude. You're not contributing anything interesting to the chat. You had your moment of attention, and now it has gone to your head in a way that has resulted in toxic, unhelpful chat commentary. So final warning for Pack Horse, otherwise you're booted. Yes, this is his last warning. If he does this again, he's gone. I like to give one warning. I was paying attention to my team and not seeing him be annoying in the chat, but now I see it. We don't have any room for that here. Brenton Strange goes at 186. He's another guy I wrote up as a guy I like to rise in ADP over the course of the summer. I think he's a really strong value right now. 16th round, no Kirk, no Ingram. GM was gushing about him. Lots of targets available there. God damn it, Mark. Will Mark just let me have one wide receiver? Takes Jalen Royals. Mark, do you really need 8 wide receivers right now? Come on, dude. Let's grab Damian Martinez. Let's get another rookie running back here. But come on, you couldn't let me have Royals there? And he did it. He knew what he was doing. He gave 5 YouTube memberships at the top of the show to use as a shield for my disdain. I hear you. Oh, I hear you. I'm going to have to take Michael Wilson or A.D. Mitchell again. Actually, should we take this Jack Bech guy? Is that how you pronounce it? I was listening to Pat talk with Eric Froton, and he was saying he liked this guy, Bech. Let's go ahead and do it. We need some more rookie wide receivers. We're up to a 3.582 with 3 picks, or sorry, a 2.582 with 3 picks left. People are saying he's a young Puka. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he was really productive, right? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This is the savior to my team. What has ever gone wrong with a TCU wide receiver? TCU wide receivers have a 100% hit rate. Can you imagine? What if this little guy was the one who redeemed the name of horned frogs in the NFL? Little Jack Bech. I don't know. I'm just assuming he's little looking at him. 6 feet 1, 214. Okay, not that little. I mean, for some reason, I thought he was going to be like 5'10", 195. All right, Jack. All right. Look at this. We got Field Yates on Instagram saying he's an absolute baller. From 5 weeks ago, his emotional walk-off TD in the Super Bowl was the moment of the week. All right, I'm in. I'm a Bech head now. I'm in on Bech. All right, Pack Horse, you had your chance, and now you're gone. Thank you for your contributions to this channel. You will need a burner to contribute again. All right, we are at a 2582. Pretty good positionally. Definitely want to grab another running back. And otherwise, what are we thinking on Jackson Dart? Are the rumors that he's a first-round pick, and was it Seattle? Were people looking at the Sam Darnold contract situation and saying it kind of indicated that Seattle would like to take a quarterback like Dart? I guess what I'm asking is Dart draftable right now? And I'm not asking Davis Maddock, who I believe last I checked had like 25% of him. I'm asking reliable narrators, is Jackson Dart draftable right now, or are you playing with fire? I'll allow this. I'll barely allow this. Dart's going to see legit reps this year, Seattle or Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh angle is kind of fun with my Pickens pick. I will say too, like Shadur Sanders here at 201. I think that's a nice pick. That's way after ADP, right? Not way after. I guess he's dropped a little bit. I guess 7 picks after ADP. But yeah, I have no problems with Shadur at 200. I can't wait for Mark to break my heart with whoever he's about to pick here. Dorito says he's okay, but not on a team with Mahomes and Purdy. See, I guess I'm confused by that, in that don't I want on a team with Mahomes and Purdy where I kind of know what I'm getting at quarterback? I kind of want an upside play there at quarterback if I do go with a third. Man, lots of Sean Tucker love on today's show. Jackson Dart does go. God damn it. All right, I think we do Brashard Smith here, though, right? Brashard Smith seems like a nice pick at pick 214. Leg Up ranks have him at 196. We wanted some more rookie running back darts on this team. Now we got Gene T, Irving, Benson, Blake Corum, Damian Martinez, and Brashard Smith at running back. So we're at 2682 with 2 more picks left. I don't think we're not going to force a third quarterback at this point. I would have been interested in Sanders or Dart. I'm not going to take Russell Wilson. I guess the only angle with Russ is that you're saying he's back as the star for the Steelers, and I have him stacked up with George Pickens. But even I don't want to buy that narrative. So then the question is, I think we could still do a third tight end here. We did Arroyo last draft. I think we still need wide receiver darts. Let's do Yoshi. We took T at the top of our board. We're basically getting a Bengals double stack without Burrow. Let's do Yoshi, and then the chat can help me decide if this is a 7th running back or a 3rd tight end to stick the landing. Here's the team through 19, and then we can crowdsource this final pick. Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy at quarterback, up to 6 running backs, Gene T, Bucky Irving, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Damian Martinez, and Brashard Smith. Wide receivers, we did get up to 9 here. T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, Keenan Allen, Isaiah Bond, Jack Bech, and Andre Yoshivas. And then 2 tight ends, George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. What do we think? 3rd tight end, 7th running back. People want me to take Milroe. That feels too thin, right? Like, at least with Dart and Sanders, you're banking on, with Sanders, I think you're banking on 17 starts. With Dart, it sounds like we're banking on like 10 plus starts. If he ends up with Seattle, if he ends up with the Steelers, you're probably taking over, by week 7, week 8. Milroe, I mean, what is his path? Like, where is he going to end up that he's going to have the draft capital and the investment from the team to want him to start before like the Desmond Ridder style rookie start, where it's not until week 15, week 16. I just don't think that I would rather, and it's also, it goes back to the thing of like, what do you win when you win? Like, okay, if you hit on Jalen Milroe starting the last 7 or 8 games, like, is he really giving you enough upside? I'd rather just throw this dart at a running back or tight end. That's a fair counter if you're saying that his game is more fantasy friendly, that if he does hit, it'll hit in a way. But I just don't think, I don't want to play with fire on the like thin bet to start right now. I think this is really close between like a 7th running back or a 3rd tight end. So Arroyo and Taylor are both on the board again. We can continue to play those hits. You got a bunch of the rookie running backs, Trevor Etienne, Jordan James, Khalil Mullings, Lakeem Allen, Taj Brooks, Marcus Jarnes, all those guys that we discussed last time. Do we end up with the super rare 2792? Definitely fragile at the onesies. Disley was there at the top, and then he went. Disley went at pick 225. Milroe is live to have multiple QB1s when he plays. All right, I hear you, Milroe Hive. I still don't think he makes sense on this team. I'd kind of rather prefer him as like, if you're going to make that kind of play, honestly, like a super late punt QB team where you grab like 4 of them, you're going like Darnold, Geno, Shadur Sanders, and Milroe with like 4 of your last 6 or 7 picks, something like that. I'm going to just play this one as if Mahomes and Purdy stay healthy, knock on wood. I know everyone in the league is going to get hurt this year, according to one individual in the chat. This is the other thing on some of these guys. Like, all right, I'm on the clock here. What do we want to do? We want to do Trevor Etienne. What's the pick? I think it's a rookie running back or a rookie tight end. I don't think we ever got any. Maybe do I give the chat Sean Tucker? Maybe I'll do this. The theme of this show, people have been going fucking crazy for Sean Tucker this episode. No. I have Bucky on this team. I don't want to do that. If I didn't have Bucky, I'd entertain it. Let's do Trevor Etienne, whatever. There was nowhere close to a consensus in the chat. There was nowhere close. I ended up taking Trevor Etienne as my 4th rookie running back on this team. Man, that first draft, we were correlating, we were vibing, getting A-, B+, and then this draft, man, had to boot someone from the chat, got shut out of a 3rd quarterback or 3rd tight end. We were just surviving in this one. Absolutely surviving. All right, let's recap the final team here. I'm so tilted that I forgot to name these other teams from previous Best Ball Breakfasts. My OCD is kicking in. All right, here's the team. Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy at quarterback. People forget that they played against each other in a Super Bowl. 7 running backs. Ashton Jeanty at 103. What, Pete? What? Bucky Irving. The controversial Bucky Irving, apparently. Trey Benson started 2 running backs there through 27 and then waited until pick 147 for our 3rd running back. That's the Corain BBM winning lineup style team. Double anchor RB and then punt that 3rd running back for a long time. Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Damian Martinez, Brashard Smith, Trevor Etienne, the rest of the running backs, the wide receivers, 9 of them. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty, but we got there. T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, Keenan Allen, Isaiah Bond, Jack Bech, Andre Yoshivas. Tight ends, George Kittle and Dallas Goedert. 2792. What if a 2792 is the build you need? What if it is? What is today's date? What is today's date? 2792. KCSF. There we go. Can't believe you guys shut me out of Travis Hunter shares today. I am on a Travis Hunter stream drought. No one will let me get my dude. All right, let's get another one here. This draft was a 3683. And this one involved Arizona, Houston. Oh, I can't even fit those all in. Sad. Sad. Seattle's getting shut out of that description. And then I'll have to go back and figure out these other ones. I think this one, man, I don't even, how did I do 3 drafts? Where's this 3rd draft coming from? I'm so confused. Normally I do 2. Oh, it was because I did 1 biggest board draft and 1 big board draft. That's why. Do you guys just want to spend the rest of the show with me trying to remember when I drafted these teams so I can name them correctly? Thank you, Tyler. Tyler's going to fill in for Steph. Steph is shirking her duties as the official grader of Best Ball Breakfast drafts. Where is Steph? I think she would have loved that first draft of mine. I think she would have called it a beaut. Called it an absolute beaut. Oh, you're right. Huhames made me remember that there was the team I pushed the plane on, and I definitely never got a cancellation notice on it. Which one was that? Was that this team? It had to have been this team. Yeah, this was the push the plane team where I didn't want to. Let's see here. Let's go. Let's look. Yep, this was the Hollywood Brown 101. So there you go. I donated $10 to the ecosystem because I didn't want to risk drafting a team on stream for the full 45 minutes or whatever, only for it to get tossed. And then this hybrid dad recovered quickly. Look at this. This is funny. So hybrid dad, I was flexing my unique Ashton Jeanty combinatorics here with Jeanty, T. Higgins, and Bucky Irving, saying no one would have done that. Little did I know hybrid dad was trying to do the same thing as the only person in the draft pool with a Hollywood Brown from the 101 with Bucky and T. Higgins. So yeah, this was my, let me name this one. This is my dead man walking team. My gritty team. Gritty ass, auto, Hollywood team. Look at that. Fit perfectly. 30 characters. Gritty ass auto Hollywood team. I like that. Ooh, Steph. Steph does strike me as someone that would partake in St. Paddy's Day. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying she strikes me as someone who gets decked out. She's got her little hat on, drinking her green beer. The green wine, I should say. Uh-oh. Sammy just waking up to the news we discussed earlier. Multiple New York drafters finding out about this news 48 hours later. But yes, Buffalo War Pigs, it's very sad news. We talked about it earlier in the show. As of right now, Underdog no longer operating in New York due to a holdup with a lawsuit and a fine I assume there will be some kind of resolution to it, but unfortunately we have zero timeline for that now. It's all just speculation. As I said earlier, Underdog wants to be operating in New York. That much I can say for certain. And so now it's just a matter of time until it gets resolved. And yeah, a huge buzzkill for the Underdog draft community in New York, which is a very, very big portion of drafters. I mean, we saw it. I think it was the hoop slate. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday. One that would normally fill didn't fill. There's a little bit of overlay, and I think safe to attribute that to not as many drafters going. I mean, I know of, just off the top of my head, 3 or 4 New York-based drafters who max hoops. Right there. Like right there is 600 entries into a contest. And that's just a few that I know off the top of my head. I'm sure there's way, way more. So it is, it's a bummer across the board because it means smaller contests, means less liquidity, all of that stuff. So very much hoping that gets resolved soon. Is that why rookies and sophomores hasn't dropped yet? I doubt there's any correlation to that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't rookies and sophomores normally drop after the draft? Or I don't even remember when that drops, but I don't remember it being in tandem with these early big board drafts last year. Good morning, Steph. We were all awaiting your grades. We were awaiting your grades. You don't even have to go back and see what the teams were. You can just give me my A's. Nick doesn't want to drive to Pennsylvania to draft, but I'll do it. I know Gretsch was ahead of his time. You guys remember last year on ship chasing. Gretsch, he was in the state of Washington, couldn't draft there, so would have to do these road trips to the Oregon border to draft. Many such cases. Heard stories about people from Toronto driving to New York. Obviously, Vegas, some Vegas drafters having to drive to Prim, get across the border there to draft. Really annoying. Thank goodness for slow drafts, though, right? Like, that is the one saving grace. I called it slow draft hell. If you're in a state where you can draft all the time, then there is such thing as a slow draft hell. If you are in a state where you cannot draft, there's no such thing as slow draft hell. That is called slow draft heaven, because you are just thankful that you were able to reg and then draft again once you're back home. But it's also silly. All of it's so silly. Like the entire concept of not being allowed to draft when you're one step in the foot of New York, and then you take one step into New Jersey, and now you're allowed to draft. It's all fucking silly. Or in Massachusetts, how I'm able to draft as many of these NFL and NBA teams as I want, but if I go to the college basketball lobby where I would love to play in this championship run tournament, let's draft one right now. Would this be fun, guys? Sorry about that. Unfortunately, we do not offer college basketball in Massachusetts at the moment. I can draft everything I want in Massachusetts. We got the DraftKings headquarters here. We got all of this stuff, but I can't draft college basketball teams in Massachusetts for some reason. All of it's so fucking silly. I would have loved to have drafted college basketball teams. Like having a full March Madness style contest like this one looks so fun to me. $10K to first. $10 entry, six people drafts, 10 rounds. Because I generally do one of these like manually with a group of people where you just draft a team for the entire duration. The one I do is generally just points. I believe, is this one just points too? No. This has full scoring, like blocks, turnovers, steals. So there's a little more intricacy to it. But it's fun. It's like a very fun complementary sweat to a bracket. It's like a bracket is essentially, like a survivor pool style sweat, whereas actually having a fantasy sweat in a progressive way, the championship game is all that matters. Can you believe that? We could have been making college basketball content, but I can't even draft. I will say, speaking of March Madness, I'll spin up a Deposit Kingdom bracket contest. I'll I'll share that in the Discord later this afternoon. I'll try to think of some fun prizes for that. You know what we'll probably do? We'll run it back. So I did the playoff guillotine leagues with Fantasy Life. And one of the rewards I offered was doing, getting an hour call with me. You could basically have your choice of coming on After Dark, doing a show, or just doing an hour call, whether that's like consultation or you just want to ask me questions, whatever you wanted to do with that time. That was the prize. What happened is whoever won the guillotine playoff contest never redeemed it. Pulled up the winner on screen. Must have been a rando who just found their way into the lobby, at least with a private link for a bracket contest. Everyone who enters will be in the Discord. So hopefully someone would want to take me up on that prize. Maybe we can do some merch as well. I think in previous years, our friends over at Run the Sims have kicked in some free subs. I can talk to our in-game syndicate crew, see if they would be willing to do similar. So yes, long story short, later this afternoon, I will drop a link in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. I actually have that pinned in the chat right now. Links down below. We'll do a bracket contest for the Deposit Kingdom. I am not a tax advisor. Please seek financial advice elsewhere. But TCD asked, do you know how the taxes work if you enter slow drafts in a different state and win big? It should be all based on where you have registered your account and when you go through the KYC stuff through your account. So my understanding would be it would all be based on where your account was established and located. So I don't think it matters where you were when you actually drafted the team. But again, not financial advice. Please consult an actual tax advisor. That is just kind of my common sense way of interpreting that. Post your teams for me to grade. All right, Steph, I'll send you, let's see here. Fine. I'll do one quick recap. I'm going to read these quickly. No, I'm going to send her the screenshot. Steph, I can't do this right now. I will keep vamping with the chat, but here's what I'll do, Steph. I will DM you while I talk with the chat. I will DM you my 2 rosters from this morning. And that way I would hate to leave the people without the official grades from Steph. So Steph, I'm going to share these with you on Discord. Okay. And don't be hasty. Don't be hasty. I can vamp with the best of them. I want you to take time. I want you to really soak it in. I want you to look through all the beautiful correlation on that first team. Okay. I don't want you to just quickly say D to be funny. Okay. I need an honest assessment. Are the screenshots for draft sharing working? I've seen some funky screenshots in the Discord lately. Hopefully it's working. Let's see. I'm about to send this to you, Steph. Let's go to Discord. Let's search Steph. All right, Steph, here's the first one. That was the first one from this morning. It looks like the screenshot is working. Yes, screenshot sent you the correct team. There's draft number 1. And now I'm going to send you draft number 2. This is great, compelling YouTube content here. Me DMing a lineup that everyone watched me draft to someone who didn't watch me draft it, so I can get a grade that I can then pass along to the chat. All right, Steph, you now have both of these teams. And make sure that, did you see that apple I put on your desk this morning? Just want to make sure you saw that apple. I've been a great student. I've been showing up to class on time. I've been doing my homework. No, you can see the tight ends. You can see the tight ends. No, I'm telling you guys, cuts off the my screenshots did not get cut off. It might be an Apple issue, guys. Everybody likes to bag on Android, but I'll tell you what, I'll show you these. I'll pull them up right here. The screenshots that I just sent. Look at this. Might be you guys needing to get a little old Android. See? Here's the first one. All 3 tight ends. Boom. Boom. This one, all 2 tight ends. Boom. See, Android, as the preeminent smartphone device, knows how to handle these lineup shares. All right, Steph, let's give you a little bit of time. Let's let you process this. Nick said it, not me. Apple issue. I can't even talk shit right now because my phone has a display issue. That's a known Pixel bug. See this pink line? This is my phone right now. It's on. I have to switch to a new one, and I haven't done it yet because of this. So there you go. I gotta be fair and balanced. If I'm going to shill Android, I have to talk about this known bug. This isn't technically Android's fault. This is fucking Google's fault. A known display bug. People, I was like, I had it like this at the Dog Bowl in San Diego, and I'm like showing people pictures or something. They're like, what the fuck is that pink line down your phone? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like right here, it looks kind of cool. Like maybe it's just part of my phone background, but I assure you it is not. It is on every single goddamn screen I go to. I like my Pixel until that happened. Takes really high quality photos and video. I've only ever had Google phones, but this issue is annoying. Definitely annoying. That's right, Brandon. That's right, Tyler. Consigliere. Wow. Okay, we have more Google heads in the chat than I thought. Is that a Hiroshi Nagai background? It is indeed. It is indeed. Yes, Steph. Okay, here we go. Here's Steph's official review. Team 1, I am very impressed with your correlation. Strong at the positions. And A, I think I should just shut the stream down now. I think I should shut the stream down now before she gets to the second one. Because, man, the second one did not feel near as good. But I shouldn't speak. I can't lead the witness. I needed that glazing. Look, you can't call it glazing when she's been a tough grader. She has been extremely tough on my teams thus far. It's just in the past couple of weeks that I've finally earned anything over a C. I forget who it was. It was over the weekend. I think it was my mom. It was when we were in San Diego. It was either my mom or my dad that like there was a term that they didn't recognize. And then I explained to them, I think for some reason I ended up explaining to one of my parents what glazing means. So yeah, that was a fun part of my trip to San Diego. All right, Steph. Steph's looking at this second team. You got the Jeopardy music playing in the background. I'm scared. I'm really scared. She grading on a curve? No. Steph is not grading on a curve. She calls it like she sees it. The best way I would describe Steph as a grader is tough but fair. Tough but fair with a smidge of bias. But I need to be, look, I can't just assume that I can just walk into one of these drafts and be drafting beautiful teams. I don't have the reps. I don't have the reps. So it's taking me longer than some of you who have done hundreds of these, who can see the matrix from all angles. I'll get there for BBM. Trust me, I will be there. But for big boards, I only got like 15 under my belt. Steph is still reviewing this second team. I'm scared. Yes, Supa, at least you can still draft. I know. I'm not going to take that for granted. I'm not going to take that for granted. Okay, here we go. The results are in. Team 2, I like the upside running back room with some rookies. I'm worried about your wide receivers. I knew that was coming. The stack's not as strong. This one, a bit disappointing. C. Honestly, Steph, that's completely fair. Completely fair. I did not feel... I thought, honestly, a D+ might have been coming. That first one felt so good, though. Thank you, Steph, for being our resident grader, for always telling us how it is. for not sugarcoating it, for giving more context to your analysis than just saying lame over and over. Steph, we were hypothesizing earlier if you are the type of person who celebrates St. Paddy's Day. I was envisioning you with the St. Paddy's Day hat and the beads and the green shirt and the green beer or the wine. Is that the case? Are you going out tonight to celebrate St. Paddy's Day? We all want to know if you're the type of person who celebrates St. Paddy's Day. She's in the middle of St. Paddy's Day parade right now. This is also a fair grade. No Travis Hunter, you get an F. Mark Wolf would not let me get Travis Hunter. He would not. All right, Steph says, I have in the past, but probably not anymore. Yeah. We're all washed up. We are all washed up. That's how it goes. How it goes. To anyone celebrating St. Paddy's Day today, have a great time. Like I said, keep an eye out in the Discord for the Deposit Kingdom contest. I'll have a few other announcements. I mentioned no ADP chasing right now, but they will be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is going to be their new time. Also, a couple of fun announcements coming for the ADP chasing and ship chasing universe in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, enjoy drafting, savor it, because now there are even more people out there who don't have what we have, an ability to draft whenever we want. It's a special thing. If you do want to join us on Underdog, if you're new to all of this and you made it to the start of hour 3 of a best ball stream on March 17th, you can sign up and play with us on Underdog with promo code Pete. You can get up to $1,000 bonus cash and can compete and draft teams that Steph will grade. That's my promise to you. If you're new to Underdog and you sign up with promo code Pete, Steph will grade every single one of your drafts. Steph will work out the deal on the side. All right. All right. Everybody have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on the shows and around them interwebs. Peace.